Well, a question. Why do I whisper, "He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty," and still feel my knees knock? I recite, I memorize, I embroider the words on my wall, and yet in the midnight watches a small sound becomes a threat. Why? Because I have tried to make Psalm 91 a charm to govern outer events instead of a door that opens inward. I have wanted an armory. The psalm offers awareness. I have wanted God to manage circumstances. The psalm invites me to awaken to presence. No, no. The protection is not a wall erected in matter. The protection is the dawning of oneness, the Christ realized within. Listen. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day. The psalm does not say there will be no night, nor arrows, nor rumor, nor pestilence. It speaks rather from a state where fear has no abiding place, because identity is not in the line of fire. I and my Father are one, not two. Not me pleading out here and God responding from there. One. When I am absent from the body and present with the Lord, present in consciousness, not in geography, I discover that safety is not the control of events, but the cessation of belief that events can add to or take away from what God is being in me, as me, through me. The secret place is not a location. You cannot enter what you never left. Your spiritual you is not in the physical. No surgeon has ever yet found any me inside of a body. When I say I, how will you localize that? Here, there, in the hand, in the skull? No. The I of you is non-local. And in the realization of that I, as one with God, the shadow of the Almighty ceases to be a shadow cast over a person and becomes an atmosphere of being. Under his wings shalt thou trust. Wings are symbols, not shingles. Trust is substance, not superstition. Therefore, let us set our aim aright, not to bend the winds, not to bargain with fate, not to marshal Scripture as a spell, but to awaken to the one presence and one power that is God. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Do not make fear a god. Do not make safety and matter a god. Do not make outcomes a god. There is only one, and harmony is the law of that one. And so, instead of anxious quotation, let there be quiet receptivity. Be still and know that I am God. Not be noisy and persuade. Be still and know. In stillness, the psalm ceases to be words about God and becomes the felt fact of God. In that knowing, the trembling subsides of itself, not by conquest, but by the revelation that the terror had no claimant. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. In that oneness, the psalm is fulfilled not as control of the outer scene, but as the inner peace that becomes our life. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Let that be our beginning. Now let us be very simple and very honest. When I say I, where will you localize that? In a head, in a chest, in a hand? No, no. Point to it if you can. Pin it in place if you dare. The moment you try to place the I in a skull, you find it looking at the skull. The instant you claim it in a heartbeat, it is the witness of the beat and not the beat itself. No surgeon has ever yet found any me inside of a body. They have opened bodies. They have examined nerves and fluids and tissue. They have numbered the hairs and weighed the organs. But where is the I that knows? Where is the awareness that says, I am? Not there, never there. I am not in the physical. Absent from the body, present with the Lord. Do not think of geography. Think of awareness. In Him we live and move and have our being. The I that knows itself in God, as God's offspring, the Christ within, the true identity of you and me. You cannot enter what you never left. If you were never contained in matter, you cannot come out of it. If life is spirit, then spirit was never in the confines of bone and skin. The body is an instrument for appearing. It is not the owner, the center, or the source of life. I am merely the instrument. God is the actor. This is not poetry. It is law. If I am not in matter, I cannot make myself safe by moving matter, by changing rooms or towns or locks or doorbells. Walls do not confer safety upon spirit any more than glass confers light upon the sun. The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous runneth into it and is safe. The tower is not brick. The name is nature, the realized nature of God as the only presence and power. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Do not enthrone flesh as God. Do not bow to circumstance as God. Do not fear. Fear as God. One God, one eye, one law. Protection begins where identity is recognized, not where barricades are raised. Hear it. In my oneness with God, I find my complete. In my oneness with God, I find my peace. When I say oneness, I do not mean a belief. I mean a felt click of recognition, a quiet awareness that I am and that I am is of God. I and my Father are one. Not eventually now. Let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus. The Christ is the identity of the I. The mind of Christ is the atmosphere of safety. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. So we begin to dwell by removing the body from thought, not to despise it, not to neglect it, but to take away the false center. Where am I? Here in this chair? No. Here behind these eyes? No. The eye that asks is already wider than the room, deeper than the rib cage, freer than breath. Be still and know. In that stillness, the psalm stops pointing to a shelter outside and reveals the secret place within consciousness. There and only there, the shadow of the Almighty is not a roof over a creature, but an atmosphere of being over being. And from that realized identity, fear loses its claimant, and the need to defend dissolves. We are at home because we never left. Now hear Psalm 91 as the map of consciousness, not the tour of a district. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High dwelleth, not visits. Dwelling is stabilized awareness of God. It is not a room. It is not a ritual. It is not the angle of a chair or the hour of a clock. It is the continuity of recognition. I and my Father are one. When the mind ceases its wandering to seek safety in objects and returns gently, simply to the fact of God as the only presence and the only power, the awareness settles. It settles again and again until the settling becomes a climate. No, this is not a passport to a hidden chamber. It is the disappearance of the need to travel. You can't enter what you never left. Dwelling is remaining where being already is. Under the shadow of the Almighty is not shade cast by a roof. It is the hush of presence that overshadows thought quiet, weightless, more interior than breath. Under that shadow, the noise of mental argument subsides of itself. Words lose their compulsion. The heart hears, "Be still and know that I am God," and stillness becomes knowledge. The shadow is not a thing touching a person. The shadow is the felt nearness of the One, the awareness that the One alone is. There, fear cannot grow because it has no soil. There, urgency has no claimant. It is overshadowing, yes, but not from above, from within. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress. This is not a petition. This is confession of identity. I will say, because I see. I will say, because the Christ within bears witness to itself. Refuge is not an address. Refuge is the nature of God as life, your life, my life, the only life. Fortress is not masonry, fortress is principle. 2 times 2 is 4, and no storm lays siege to mathematics. So too, the law of one presence, one power, stands impregnable, not by resistance, but by truth. In that saying, I am not claiming a possession, I am acknowledging my being, absent from the body, present with the Lord. I am merely the instrument. God is the actor. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. Not slogans on the lips, but realized truth in consciousness, living discernment that rejects suggestion as untrue by its very light. The arrow does not pierce because in the seeing that God alone is, there is no target labeled vulnerable me. Suggestion may fly, rumor may whisper, sensation may argue. But truth recognized does not strike back. It dissolves the premise. Darkness is not fought, it is dispelled by light. So truth, known within, functions as shield, not a wall we hold up anxiously, but a presence that leaves nothing to oppose. Thou shalt not be afraid. Hear it rightly. This is not a command to the nerves. It is a description of consciousness at rest. It is the report given from the height of oneness. Fear is not here. In my oneness with God, I find my security. In my oneness with God, I find my peace. In that peace, the psalm ceases to promise and begins to describe the secret place is realized. The shadow is felt. The saying is true. The truth is operative. And fear is without a seat. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Let the grace that is be the atmosphere, and let the words of the psalm be read as windows into that atmosphere until the click of union seals them as your own. Let us be very simple. Dwelling begins by taking the body out of the center of attention. Choose a chair low enough that the feet rest on the floor without strain. Sit with the back straight, yet at ease, no military posture, no collapse. Allow the hands to rest lightly, not gripping, not clasping. Never rest your arms on the chair. Keep them free. Close the eyes softly, as if you were listening for a distant hymn. That is all. There is no occult reason for it, only one of comfort. So the body ceases to call for attention. In this position, with the eyes closed, I am virtually unaware of having a body, absent from the body, present with the Lord. Now what? Nothing to do but become receptive. Not a bit of forcing. Do not try to think up holy thoughts. Do not rehearse promises. Be still and know that I am God. Let the mind float like a leaf on quiet water. If thoughts pass, let them pass. If the day's errands knock, let them knock without opening the door. I am not seeking safety. I am not seeking signs. I am seeking God alone. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Seek the kingdom, not the things. If you wish a doorway, whisper once or twice, thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Then fall silent. Let it be a password that opens, not a tool that pries. Say it softly until the words loosen their grip and the meaning stands without syllables. Thy grace is my sufficiency. Thy grace, not my will, not my plan, not my protection and matter. Thy grace, wait now in desireless expectancy. I wait in a state of receptivity until finally the click comes. Do not ask me to define it. It is not fireworks. It is not a thrill up the spine. Sometimes it is a hush that suddenly has substance. Sometimes it is as if the air in the room has become friendly. Sometimes it is only the end of effort, a sweet irrelevance of worry. And in that instant, I and my Father are one ceases to be doctrine and becomes atmosphere that is dwelling. Guard yourself from meddling. no projecting thought to a person or a problem, no visualization of outcomes, no argument with appearances. The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. God is the actor and the doer and the beer. I am merely the instrument. If a fear image rises, do not wrestle. Let the light dissolve it by being light. Darkness does not need to be pushed out. Turn on the light. So with fear, let the realized presence of God occupy consciousness, and the shadow has no place to cast itself. Remain a few minutes. When you feel complete, no rush, no goal, open the eyes gently. Do not look around for evidence. Evidence is the byproduct. Union is the life. In my oneness with God, I find my peace. In my oneness with God, I find my security. Let dwelling be this quiet consent again and again through the day and if words help, let them be few and faithful. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Then silence. Then God. Now we must face a sober and beautiful word, law. Not the law of a judge with moods, but cosmic law, the unalterable isness by which spirit is spirit. Be not deceived. God is not mocked, for whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. As you sow, so shall ye reap. That is not threat, that is principle. 2 times 2 is 4. You can beg it to be 5. You can weep on it. You can sing over it. But the principle remains itself. You violate 2 times 2 is 4, and you have called down not a temperamental deity, but the impersonal certainty of mathematics. It is the same with the law of one. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. This is not tribal jealousy. It is the blueprint of harmony. What are other gods? Anything we treat as power besides God. Matter revered as cause God. Money feared or adored God. Medicine enthroned as omnipotent God. People set up to save or to ruin us God. Even a verse embroidered and worn as a charm God. Psalm 91 is not a talisman, it is a window. If we clutch the words to bend events, we have mistaken symbol for source. Don't ever tamper with a cosmic law because it is a double-edged sword. When you try to use truth to manipulate outcomes to impress a client, to win a contest, to avoid facing a debt, you are not protected by truth, you are cut by it. Why? Because the law will not serve selfish purpose. There can be no selfish purpose in a cosmic law. Hear the correction in love. We do not use God. We yield that God may use us. We do not declare Scripture to command weather or neighbors. The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. Hold your peace means drop the will to manage. Live thou my life. Fulfill thyself in me. I am merely the instrument. God is the actor and the doer and the beer. When the instrument is yielded, harmony appears as the music of law, not as the triumph of a clever player. Now see how protection is ethical, not magical. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. This too is law. In the atmosphere of love, there is no adversary to fear. When I want nothing you have, and you want nothing I have. When we share because the one is our sufficiency, competition loses its teeth. Safety flowers where competition ends and sharing begins. Traffic moves without collisions when each driver honors the same right of way. So life moves without warfare when each heart yields to the one, presence, and loves the neighbor as the self. As you meet compassion, it is measured back as an unseen hedge. As you sow honesty, it ripens as trust that cannot be bought or stolen. So let us examine our altars. What do we secretly worship? The bank statement, the diagnosis, the opinion of a powerful person? Lay them down, not by hatred, by reassigning power where it belongs. One presence, one power, one law, And then quietly, without drama, watch how harmony begins to appear, not because we have walled danger out, but because in honoring the law we have ceased creating a second power to fear. In my oneness with God, I find my security. In my oneness with God, I find my peace. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Yield to grace, and the law itself becomes the refuge the psalm describes. Impersonal, universal, unfailing. He shall give his angels charge over thee, to keep thee in all thy ways. Do not picture platoons with spears. When I say angels, think ideas, living movements of divine intelligence within consciousness. Think intuitions that arrive without fanfare, clear directives that feel like peace, sudden restraints that feel like gentleness. He shall cover thee with his feathers. Feathers softness, not force, a hush, not a shove. In the atmosphere of realized oneness, guidance does not bark orders. It settles like down upon the heart. It does not dazzle. It clarifies. It does not argue. It is. And because it is, we are kept not by barricade, but by rightness, by the exact fitness of timing, root, and word. This is the spiritual mechanic. When I am consciously one with God, the mind of Christ becomes the governor of my ways. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. Then ideas move. There is a pause before the step wait. There is a shift in the hand, do not sign. There is a sweetness in silence, say nothing now. They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. The bearing up is not a lift of flesh. It is the lift of awareness above compulsion. It is an inner no that keeps the foot from the stone of haste. It is an inner yes that moves the foot when fear would freeze it. Charge over thee means the divine idea assumes command, not as a tyrant, but as light assumes command in a darkened room. Everything is seen at once and harmlessly. Do not try to command angels. Never summon entities. This work is not invocation of powers. It is receptivity to presence. The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. Hold your peace. Stop the mental telegraphing, the pushing and pulling of persons and events. I am merely the instrument. God is the actor and the doer and the beer. In silence, the right idea descends like a feather, and the path is taken without contest. There is no occult here, only law. As surely as 2 times 2 is 4, the realized one orders its own appearing. I have watched it again and again. A businessman wrote that in the signing of a contract he felt without argument, not now. He closed the folder, thanked the room, and left. Within a week the scheme collapsed, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. A mother, moved to dial a number she had not called in months, interrupted a sorrow that was ripening into despair. What she thought was a whim proved to be an angel with a telephone cord. As for me, more times than I can count, a sentence has risen to the lips and the inner hand has covered the mouth. No. Later I learned how that sentence would have wounded. Ideas kept me, not cleverness. I did not project. I did not plan. I waited until the click came, and the angel was the idea that clicked. Watch for the subtle. The smallest inner nudge may be the angel that keeps thee in all thy ways. Do not despise the day of small things. Elijah did not find God in the wind, nor in the earthquake, nor in the fire, but after the fire a still small voice. Let that voice have charge. In my oneness with God, I find my guidance. In my oneness with God, I find my guard. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Thy grace in thought becomes the feather. Thy grace in timing becomes the path. Thy grace in speech becomes the word withheld and the word released. Be still, receive, And let the angels of idea keep you not outside of life, but within the law of life itself. Terror by night, pestilence that walketh in darkness, destruction that wasteth at noonday. These are names for what I call the field, the collective mesmerism, the broadcast of fear that comes by headlines, charts, and the buzzing of anxious conversation. It is not your fear. It is fear impersonally parading through thought. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand. Yes, the numbers roll in. Statistics, images, graphs like waves. Do not personalize the wave. Do not make a self out of a statistic. The field presses for a claimant, a me to inhabit. Refuse at that seat. How? Not by struggle, not by argument. Hypnotism is fed by resistance. When the suggestion comes, what if? What if? Do not debate it. Quietly say, no. Then turn at once to the fact, I and my Father are one. Be still and know that I am God, absent from the body, present with the Lord. In that pivot, you are not pushing anything out. You are letting truth be truth. You are removing the false center so that presence may occupy its own place. The terror by night has no window to rattle when the house is not empty of God. Truth is shield and buckler because it is light, not because it is armor. You do not fight a shadow. You stand in the sun. In my oneness with God, I find my security. In my oneness with God, I find my peace. There, suggestion dissolves by exposure. The whisper, you are at risk, cannot locate a vulnerable me in a consciousness that knows I am Christ identified, spirit born. No surgeon has ever yet found any me inside of a body. Fear cannot stab what it cannot find. Think of a traffic law. Safety on the road is not in honking louder than the next driver. Safety is in obedience, right-of-way acknowledged, speed moderated, signals on it. It is impersonal, and it protects all who yield to it. So with this law of one, thou shalt have no other gods before me. We do not outshout the world's alarms. We yield to the one presence and power, and let the order of that yielding govern our goings and comings. Don't ever tamper with a cosmic law. It does not respond to bravado. It answers to surrender. We are not sensationalists. We neither deny the report nor bow to it. We abide neutral in God. If a fact must be handled, it is handled from the hush, not from frenzy. The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace, hold your peace. Let ideas, angels move where and as they will. Refuse the drama of posting calamity. Refuse, too, the vanity of defiant boasting. Stay simple. Stay still. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, but it shall not come nigh thee. Do not read favoritism. Read state of consciousness. Where oneness is realized, fear finds no claimant, and what is not claimed cannot abide. So when the night terrors knock, or the noonday pestilence parades its graphs, answer once, no. Then turn within and dwell until the click of union registers. I am merely the instrument. God is the actor and the doer and the beer. In that realized oneness, you are kept not by defiance, not by denial, but by law. Non-interference is not passivity. It is purity. It is the atmosphere in which the law of one can be felt without static. The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. Hold your peace is instruction, not suggestion. Safety grows as willfulness dissolves. The very hush of the secret place is broken the moment we reach out mentally to seize, to fix, to arrange. No, I am merely the instrument. God is the actor and the doer and the beer. When the instrument is quiet, the music appears. When the reed stops forcing a sound, the breath passes through and song is born. Because of this, I never give human advice. I have studiously avoided mental and physical manipulation. No laying on of hands, no mental pushes or pulls. Do not work on people or on conditions. Do not send thoughts. Do not project images. Do not sit down to straighten the spine or to still a storm or to win a case. Be still and know that I am God. The work is wholly within consciousness, the realization of God as the only presence and the only power here. In that realization, ideas move, timing aligns, words are given or withheld, the appearance changes or the fear of the appearance dissolves, and often both. But we have not acted on a condition, we have consented to presence. This is not scruple, it is law. There can be no selfish purpose in a cosmic law. As ye sow, so shall ye reap. Try to use truth to secure an advantage, and you have already lost the truth, not because God is offended, but because 2 times 2 is 4, and will not serve 5. Not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. When you angle for outcomes, you enthrone an outcome as God. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Not even holy outcomes, God alone. When the motive is pure, seek ye first the kingdom, the added things appear as byproduct, not as bait. Consider a compass. Shake it, tap it, hurry it, and the needle wobbles. Set it down, leave it alone, and it finds north of itself. So with consciousness. The more you jab at a problem, the more you wobble. Set it down in God. Be still. Present the mind like a receiver tuned without chatter. The static is human will, the signal is grace. Take no thought for your life. Take no thought for the evidence. Take thought only for God. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Whisper it once, then fall silent until the click comes. Let the Father within do the works. It is the Father that doeth the works. And when you are asked to help, remember, you do not take a person into mind to improve him. You let the light reveal itself where a name seems to be. You do not visualize a healed body. You recognize the Christ as identity and watch ideas descend like feathers. If a word is needed, it will be given. If a step is to be taken, it will take itself. Interference is noise. Consent is song. In my oneness with God, I find my security. In my oneness with God, I find my peace. I am not here to act. I am here to yield. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Be the instrument, and let God be the actor. Now you will ask, what of evidence? If we do not push, do we ever see? Yes, but evidence without sensation. Not fireworks, not chills, not the trumpet of self-importance. Like dawn, it comes because the sun is itself. Harmony appears where union is realized. We neither stage nor sell it. Not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. When the mind rests in God, conditions quietly recompose themselves as ice yields to spring. No one hears the thaw. I have watched relief arrive like a sigh no one planned. A woman wrote that she walked the hospital corridor with a knot in her middle. Somewhere in that hallway a hush came over her, as if an unseen hand had placed her on a soft chair. The pain loosened, the fear lost speech. No argument did that. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. Another told of missing a train and discovering that the missed train saved him from an entanglement that would have cost dearly. Right timing, not cleverness. And there was the brother who had rehearsed estrangement for years. One wordless morning the click came, and by afternoon a sentence was offered that dissolved the decade. Reconciled not by craft, but by grace organizing its own. Sometimes there are non-local glimmers. A letter arrives from across an ocean. Last night I felt you in the room, and peace settled. Do I travel? No, I neither project nor send. Absent from the body, present with the Lord. While I sat in silence, not thinking of anyone, not thinking at all, the one that is one everywhere disclosed itself as peace there. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. The presence was not mine. It was God being God, where a name seemed to be. No method touched it. No will aimed it. Hear the caution in love. We do not boast, and we do not guarantee. Cosmic law is impersonal. As you sow, so shall ye reap. 2 times 2 is 4. It will not perform for applause. We witness, we do not advertise. Jesus often said, "See thou tell no man, not to hide good, but to keep it pure of trade. The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace." Hold your peace also about results. Do not turn grace into a brochure. Anchor this in practice. When the click comes, do not rush to measure. Hold to the source. Very often the phone rings. The needed word appears. The closing door becomes an opening at the next turn. If nothing outward shifts, the compulsion to fear is gone. You will know why the psalm says, "Thou shalt not be afraid." That knowing itself is safety. Let all your telling point back, not our thought, not our method. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Say it once, then be still. I am merely the instrument. God is the actor and the doer and the beer. In my oneness with God, I find my harmony. And in that oneness, harmony appears not sold, not staged, but revealed. Let us place this into the clock and the doorway, into phones, headlines, and doorbells. A daily rule is not a harness. It is a rhythm by which the heart remembers. Morning first, before the day touches you, before a hand reaches for a screen, before you open the window of the world, sit 3 minutes in silence. 3 minutes is all I ask to begin, but let it be whole. Chair comfortable, eyes softly closed, body forgotten if possible, absent from the body, present with the Lord. Whisper once, "Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things." Then be still. Do not ask, "Do I feel it?" Do not measure. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. Let no other seeking intrude. If a click comes, bless it. If not, bless the hush that holds you. I am merely the instrument. God is the actor and the doer and the beer. Rise then and wash the face of the day in that awareness. Now the thresholds. Before the phone is answered, 1 breath. Before the meeting begins, 1 breath. Before opening the headlines, 1 breath. The doorbell rings, 1 breath. Let the breath carry the password of grace. Thy grace is my sufficiency. Say it once, not as charm, but as consent. Hold your peace for a heartbeat and allow the angel of idea to precede you into the call, the room, the story, the threshold. Watch and pray, said the Master, that ye enter not into temptation, the temptation that is to take the event into your own hands. 1 breath is a small altar. Let it be frequent and pure. When fear spikes, stop. Cease action for 10 seconds. Hands off the keyboard, pen down, foot still. Do not think. Do not argue. Whisper inwardly, "Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things." Then listen. The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. The answer may be, wait. The answer may be, call now. The answer may be, say nothing. Often it is only a loosening, and in that loosening, the rash word does not fly, the ill-timed step does not land, the purchase is not made. Angels bear you up as ideas, restraints, and releases that spare the footed stone. No projecting, no managing. Consent, and let the light show itself. Keep a small journal, not of events, but of the click. After the call, note the hush that came before it. After the errand, write the simple nudge you obeyed, turn left, apologize, wait, record, without embroidery, the gentle impressions that prove true. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. A lamp for a step, not a searchlight for a year. Obey the simplest light and nothing more. Faithful in that which is least, you will find that the climate of oneness spreads. The clicks come less as sparks and more as steady glow. Evening now. Sit again, not long, not strained. Review the day as one would watch ashore from a passing boat, kindly, without judgment. Where did ideas guard you? A pause that saved a sentence, a delay that spared a loss, a smile that turned a stranger into a neighbor. Give thanks. Where you missed, forgive yourself 70 times 7. You have as much right to forgive yourself as you have to forgive your neighbor. Lay down remorse as an idol. Cast thy burden upon the Lord. He giveth his beloved sleep. Close with the password of grace. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things, and rest. Make dwelling habitual. Through brief, sincere returns to silence, and you will discover that the secret place is not visited, it abides. In my oneness with God, I find my security. In my oneness with God, I find my peace. When the heart has learned to dwell, something begins to change in the air around us. The inner hush acquires circumference. Strife finds less to grip. Why? Because desire loosens, and with it rivalry. When I want nothing you have, and you want nothing I have, we have quietly disarmed the only swords that ever truly draw blood. Fear of lack and lust for gain. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Not admire, not endure, love as self. In oneness, another's good is not a subtraction. It is my own appearing in a different facet. Perfect love casteth out fear, and where fear is cast out, danger loses its womb. This is not sentiment. It is geometry. Lines of desire intersect as collisions. Lines of love run parallel within the one, each supported by the same center civically. This looks like cooperation, the public face of spiritual law. As you sow, so shall ye reap. Sow rivalry, reap strain. Sow sharing, reap sufficiency. The Master called it building on rock. Think like an engineer. You would not float a steel bridge on a bog and pray it holds. You sink pilings to bedrock because gravity does not flatter. Love is the bedrock of human structure. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself is not advice, it is load-bearing law. Violate it, and collapse follows families. Buckle under secret taking. Companies list toward fraud. Nations crack along covetous borders. Don't ever tamper with a cosmic law. It is a double-edged sword. Use competition as God, and it will devour its worshiper. Yield to love as God, and it will carry you because it is its own strength. You ask, but does my private oneness matter to the street? Oh, yes. Consciousness is not local, it is field. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. That realized union radiates a non-competitive atmosphere. In homes, the small tyrannies loosen the need to have the last word, to be right, to possess. In teams, credit flows to where it belongs, and no one starves for applause. In shops and schools and city rooms, the climate softens. Negotiations become search for mutual rightness. Policies seek the neighbor's good without fear of losing one's own. Seek the peace of the city, for in the peace thereof shall ye have peace. Peace is not the absence of rivals, it is the absence of rivalry. Watch the simple evidences. You are in a line and another is agitated. You let them pass, and the agitation dissolves not only in them but in you. A meeting tilts toward winner take all. You speak one sentence that yields profit into fairness, and the table breathes. A child clutches. You do not wrest the toy, you add another, and the clutching hand opens by seeing abundance. That is not technique. That is law recognizing itself. The angels that bear us up arrive as ideas of sufficiency. There is enough time, enough credit, enough bread, manna again, enough for the day, none to hoard, none to fear. Understand, we are not making a utopia. We are ceasing to deny the already present kingdom. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Righteousness is right relation, God as only source, neighbor as self. The added things are safety, economy, rest. Build there, and rain may fall, winds may blow, but the house stands because it is on rock. Build on envy or scarcity, and even a clear day can cave the roof. Let this be our social prayer. I want nothing you have, because the one is my sufficiency and yours. I am merely the instrument. God is the actor and the doer and the beer. In my oneness with God, I find my security. In our oneness in God, we find our peace. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Whisper it until desire softens into generosity, until rivalry thaws into cooperation, until families, teams, and cities rest easier in the quiet knowledge that no one needs to take, where all are fed by one. Now we come to stillness, not as finish, but as foundation laid bare. Here again the essence. Protection is not the management of circumstance. It is the dawning of consciousness. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. The secret place is not a room. It is realized union. When the heart consents to one presence, one power, the psalm is not a promise to the frightened body. It is a map of felt oneness. I will say of the Lord, my refuge within, his truth within my shield, not outside, within. Be still and know that I am God. Let us seal it in practice. 1 minute. Close the eyes softly. Forget the body if you can. If not, do not fight. Let it rest at the edge of awareness. Whisper once, not twice. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Now stop. No asking, no arranging. Hold your peace. Wait for nothing and for no one. Simply be willing. If the click of union comes a sudden ease, a breath that is not yours, bless it. If only willingness abides, that is the click in seed. Absent from the body, present with the Lord. I am merely the instrument. God is the actor and the doer and the beer. Let the hush keep house around you. Hear the psalm as consciousness now. I will say of the Lord, he is my refuge and my fortress, my God. In him will I trust. Say it as withinness. I will say of the Lord, my refuge within. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. His truth within my shield. Thou shalt not be afraid. Why? Because fear cannot find a claimant in realized oneness. There shall no evil befall thee. Not because events are commanded about, but because the law of one owns its own, and ideas, angels order your way. Take the identity seals and bind them upon the heart. I and my Father are one. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. In my oneness with God, I find my security. In my oneness with God, I find my peace. Not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. Let that be your name and your address. Now a simple commission. For 30 days, practice the password of grace. Each morning upon waking, before screens and headlines, say once with sincerity, thy grace is my sufficiency in all things, and fall silent. Before calls, doors, meals, decisions, say it once and fall silent. At night, say it once and fall silent. Do not use it to get, use it to yield. Do not look about to see what has happened. Look within and let the Father within do the works. The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. If in the 30 days you notice only this, that fear has less speech, you have discovered the psalm fulfilled. If a click comes, or a path clears, or a word is withheld that would have wounded, bless the giver and keep still. We do not stage or sell grace. We abide close. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. I am that I am, and in that I am you are kept.